that the landscape of the entire UFO phenomena going back 2,000, 5,000, 45,000, 270 million years, Homo sapiens sapien has never known, are they friendly? Are they hostile? Are they neutral? The control remote viewers who had these tasks in Project Stargate in the 1980s, Lynn Buchanan told me every one of them was tasked at some point, and then later on, they would talk with each other. And the very skilled controlled remote viewers working for the CIA and the Defense Intelligence Agency, they all got that the universe is full of consciousness. Right. And that it fell into these categories of friendly, neutral, and hostile when it came to the Earth. General Eisenhower and Churchill looking at each other eye to eye. They must have had a private discussion that was further away from that security guard who heard those words that could have been the proclamation between the UK, the United States, and the Allies of World War II. We're going along with Churchill. Zero. Nobody is to know anything for the foreseeable future. We have to get out of World War II. We have to get beyond the war, and we cannot introduce UFOs and ETs, and that stuck as a policy. Now, at the other further end, also involving Dwight D. Eisenhower, I have had half a dozen sources over the last 30 or 40 years tell me that they do know for a fact, even if they can't show me photos, they can't show me 16 millimeter film that would have been shot back then, but that Dwight Eisenhower did not go to a dentist when he was in Palm Springs with his wife and with an entourage as president. That he was flown secretly to, it was Edwards Air Force Base, not Area 51 and not in Palm Springs, that he was taken to Edwards Air Force Base and introduced, this is what I've been told, to a blonde humanoid. And that there was a discussion, I assume telepathically. I don't know that part for sure. And it had to do with the perspective of the blonde Nordics on nuclear weapons, on atomic bombs. It was made very clear to Dwight Eisenhower, we will not allow you to continue to do any atomic warfare because you do not understand that when you are splitting the atom, you are tearing into dimensions that you know nothing about. You are doing damage in other frequencies you know nothing about. We will not let this continue. I personally think, based on these other discussions, that is absolutely what happened in and around President Eisenhower, whether people want to argue about where. I think it happened. And after that, Dwight Eisenhower, who I think wanted to tell the world the truth, and had Lieutenant Colonel Philip J. Corso working in the Pentagon with the General Arthur Trudeau, which Corso told me, and I have understood in other discussions, the man in World War II that General Eisenhower respected the most was General Arthur Trudeau, who had a PhD in electronic engineering. Eisenhower looked up to him. Eisenhower chose him to be the first director of scientific research in the Pentagon. And who does Trudeau hire? Lieutenant Colonel Philip J. Corso, that they knew each other in the Italian front of the war. Those three men, Eisenhower, Corso, and Trudeau, they trusted each other. It was General Trudeau who told Corso, I'm going to show you. And Corso told me firsthand, he said, the day that General Arthur Trudeau asked him to come into his office in the Pentagon, And it was the beginning of their investigation of extraterrestrial technology from all these crashes. And General Trudeau said, I want you to see something. This is exactly what Corso told me. And he gets up from behind a big desk in his Pentagon office, walks over to, I think it was 3 banks of metal filing cabinets, opens up a drawer, asks Corso to come over. Corso said he looks into this file drawer expecting to see paper, and he didn't know what. He said there were things that looked like quarters. There were masses of what I thought were wires. And think about this, Alan. This is in the Pentagon in 1961. General Arthur Trudeau walks Philip J. Corso over to these file cabinets. Corso can't recognize anything that's in the cabinet that has been opened. And that's when General Trudeau says, this is what we have retrieved from some of the UFO crashes. And I want you, piece by piece by piece, to go to corporations where I will make the phone call. I will set up for the person that you will hand deliver. Everything that I give you, you hand deliver. And I will have it set up. And that's what Philip Corso said for 3 years, from 61 to 63. The general would say, now call ARCO on this, what we would turn out to be, the fiber optics that we would eventually have light going through. Every single one he took to all these different corporations. And then this was one of the most important pieces that Corso told me directly, eye to eye, that answers the question of why might there be a policy that never changes about no one is to know that we're not alone in the universe. This is the part that's crucial. General Trudeau said to Lieutenant Colonel Philip J. Corso, our goal is to get American corporations secretly to back engineer and turn this technology from UFOs into technology that we can apply in the United States and get patents on. And once we have patents in corporations, Russia, China, any other country on the planet will not have any access to. The fastest way that they could develop what they had was through patents in American corporations. That is what Lieutenant Colonel Corso told me was the main reason then for all of this secrecy. So if it was money, control, protection, isolation of technology that the United States did not want anybody else to have, suddenly you can have a human understanding to why the new CIA, followed by the NSA, followed by the DIA, they would have orientations. Here's our highest priority in the UFO field, the back engineering and patenting of this technology and weaponizing whatever they could.